Welcome back to another Hab Nation live show with the hockey coach, Coach Frenchy, directly for the beautiful country of Thailand on amazing, great Tuesday night, September 9, 2025. What, about 27, 28 days before the beginning of the season. And he's going to have a triple header on that night. First game of the season is the Blackhawks versus the Panthers. Hopefully an amazing, great week so far. And you're ready to talk about the Montreal Canadiens and the NHL tonight. And of course, tonight we'll do something special because we have a special guest, and it's going to be Mr. Kirby Lupul is in the house tonight, directly from Alberta. By the way, he is a neighbor of Mr. Randy Walkman is in the house.
How's it going, Coach?
I'm doing well. Welcome for people maybe in the chat. We maybe recognize him because he's been with us a couple of times during the summer. And under the name of the Cat and Rats, if I can recall it properly, the right way, Mr. Kirby.
Yes, we've been going now for a couple seasons here with the Cats and Rats community. We not only just covered the Florida Panthers, my co-host Cody Stevens, Nick Levine, and Cesar Lucero. You guys might have seen him a little bit with Spit and Chicklets, and he kind of blew up online social media this summer. He's a good producer for us and kind of helps us run our NHL After Dark shows on Saturday nights. So we'd love to have your community, other communities from the Atlantic Division, as we're going to be covering that in the coming weeks here. And we're going to have you drop by next week, Coach.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to join them next week, next Tuesday. I can't wait to be there with you, all of you guys. But I can consider you maybe the number one fan for the Panthers in Canada.
Yeah, I used to go by Canadian Panther fan on the old message boards. I've been a lifer. I've been a Panther fan since 1993. People always ask my unique story there. Growing up in Calgary, Alberta, a lot of fans were, of the Flyers, the Avalanche, the Red Wings. I wanted to be different. The Panthers came into the league, the Leaping Cat. I wish they would bring that back, Coach. John Van Beesbrook with the cool mask, Video Roger Nielsen being the first ever Panthers head coach, really captivated me early on. And then, of course, that run to the Stanley Cup final in 1996. I got to watch all those games on CBC back in the day there. So that playoff run was quite exciting. Some dark years after that, but look where we are now. So.
Wow, 1993, Roger Nielsen, what a great coach he was. And Roger Nielsen, I think he was underrated in my opinion. Having a possibility to meet him, he had a coaching clinic every summer in Ontario. And whenever he passed away after that, they consist to make that kind of seminar 3 days, during the weekend. And I was been there like a couple of years, or maybe 5 years straight during the maybe 15, 14 to 19 before COVID. And the legend Roger Nelson for me was really amazing. In 1993, Bill Torrey, ex-GM of the New York Canadiens, it was, by the way, they make a banner from Bill Torrey and the Florida Panthers, by the way. So we have a few people knock the door. Welcome, everybody. Thanks to be a part of the show. We have a special guest, Kirby Lupul, from maybe South Alberta, like he said. And he's going to be with us for 1 hour. The following hour, I will stay with all of you guys. After that, I'm going to continue the show until 10:30 tonight. I'm going to do all these fun things. We're going to bring the clash early today to do it with Joey because my 5 questions are about the Panthers. So we're going to see what he's going to do on the clash. It's easy. Joey is just absolutely or not at all. If you agree or disagree, but I use different player for the Panthers, what he can accomplish, prediction for the season 2025-2026. So I think it would be a good time to do it all together. And of course, Randy Walkman is from Calgary, and he covered the Calgary Flame. If you have anybody have a question for Joey, I call him Joey because I'm thinking always about Joey Lupul, but it's a Kirby about that, so I apologize.
Distant cousin, I say. And Coach, you got a lot of connections to the Panthers that you're going to share through tonight too. Told me a little bit off the air there, and yeah, the community throw me any questions on the Panthers.
No problem. Past, present. And we have a few people knock the door. So thanks, everybody. Don't forget, please click on the like, subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow night. Now, tomorrow night, guys, I want to mention one thing here. And it's a night on Marco Larrabee. Every Wednesday, Marco's going to be the co-host. He's going to run a show like me now. And it's called about the Ab Hump Day. we have a special guest tomorrow night. And people will say, who is going to be? I cannot tell you. It's a secret. Maybe not. But we're going to, you have to be here tomorrow night at 8:45. We're going to bring that guest, a special guest, for approximately 45 minutes. So stay tuned and come to join us tonight at 8:45. We're going to start the show at 8:30, by the way. But I just want to let you know about that special guest tomorrow night at the Hockey Nation. So, Kirby, for all people, many of you does not really know you. Two things I would like to sharing with us. Born in Calgary already, we know that. But what's how you fall in love with hockey and why the Panthers? Because I honestly, I worked with the Panthers for many years, but not many people from Canada are in love like you with the Panthers. And I'm sure you was excited for the last couple of years after many years where it was not in the playoff, unfortunately, for the team. But they look like now they are a really solid team. Congratulations for Bill Zito, by the way, maybe the best GM in the NHL. And then sharing with us a little bit more about you, podcast, so the people can follow you more and how they can join you or reach you on different platform on the social media. And then we're going to go deep about the other subject we got there.
Yeah, so Coach, I just want to thank you again for having me on here, and anyone in our community down there in the chat. Appreciate you guys being here, and then on the replay as well. Always thumbs up the video, like I say, when I'm down there in the chat. But yeah, I guess my hockey origin story starts with my dad. My dad was inducted into the Lethbridge Sugar Kings Hall of Fame by Lanny McDonald. My dad was a really good player growing up. He grew up in Weyburn, Saskatchewan, and then moved on to play major junior hockey in the Moose Jaw area, and then later on with the Lethbridge Sugar Kings. So his claim to fame is he was one game away from playing the Montreal Junior Canadiens in a championship game, in a tournament or end of the league or whatever. This was before like how it's kind of now with the Memorial Cup. But he's kind of glad he didn't play them because Gilbert Perreault was on that team, and he said we probably would have lost 12-2. So I think that he was a 1970 draft year. My dad was never drafted, but he played with a lot of NHLers. Gilbert Perreault, guys like that that were in his leagues and tournaments and things like that. Played with John Davidson, I think, played later in Lethbridge. Everyone knows him from the New York Rangers. Played against Chico Resch, guys like that. So my dad was a big hockey fan. But in saying that, when you're so close to the game like my dad was, you don't really, like my experience anyway, have a favorite team growing up. I know it might be different in Montreal and Toronto, but like he just loved the game. He loved Bobby Orr. I hate to say this on this platform here, Sanderson, players like that in the 70s, but he never was like a Bruins fan or pushed that on me, and he just enjoyed watching them. And then through the years, the Calgary Flames got a franchise from the Atlanta Flames, so he would follow them, but he would never call himself a fan. So I think me becoming a Panthers fan, that told a bit of my story, because you follow like your grandfathers, your fathers, and that kind of gets passed down to you. So as a hockey fan, I just found the game myself at the NHL level, played the video games, like newspaper clippings. I had a big board, Coach, that I would keep track of all the out-of-town scores and like track the standings and things like that. I would set up all the street hockey games, Western Canada, just like Eastern Canada. You'd be out there on the outdoor rink, or you'd be out there from dawn to dusk playing on the street at minus 20 weather or hot or colder. So yeah, like I just kind of fell in love with the Panthers at the time. That was my formative years. I grew up watching Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr with the Penguins, but I was just kind of learning the game then. And then the Panthers came in, and my brother gravitated towards the Anaheim Ducks because of the Mighty Ducks films. And then there were the Panthers. And the year before, Ottawa had come in, Tampa, San Jose. We had little mini sticks of them and kind of walked.
Super Chat.
We have a super chat, Mr. Kirby. I don't know if you've been around here to know about the super chat. We do, but let's see what we got there. I don't think I put the U camera on my graphic, but it's not a big deal. You can watching me. That'd be fine also about that. So let's see what we got. We have a first goal of the night, and Mark Elliott scored the first goal. Here we go. We're going to do a super chat at the Hockey Nation live show. Be back right here. Apologize for that one. But and we cut you at the middle of what you're going to say. So if you have one more minute to finish your story.
Yeah, always for the super chat. So yeah, then the Panthers and Ducks came into the league, and like from the beginning, I was just gravitated. The Panthers missed the playoffs by tiebreaker the first season. I think to the New York Islanders, might have been. So they were really close to make the playoffs in their first season. Then the third season is when they went to the Stanley Cup and had that magical run there. So that really captivated me. Got to see all those playoff games and would follow them as closely as I could. Coach, internet radio came in when Pavel Bure came in. Pavel Bure made even radio calls entertaining and interesting. The Russian market, right? So even when I couldn't get the games on TV or satellite or whatever, I'd be listening to those games on the internet radio. Yeah, and just became a big fan. Became entrenched in the community, and here I am now with the Cats and Rats. We've been going 2-3 years strong here. We do post-game shows over on X, so everyone can follow us over there. We talk all NHL, and then now we're here on YouTube, so people can drop us a follow, subscribe, and we not only talk the Panthers, but we go around the NHL on Saturday nights with our NHL After Dark program.
Awesome. You talk about passion, guys, about love the game. That's what the definition you can talk about Kirby right there. So glad to sharing with us. Glad to have you aboard. And we're going to run that one. We have two questions back to back before we move on. Roger Bouchard, Kirby, do you think the Habs will make the playoff this season?
Oh, me, myself. Okay. I think the Montreal Canadiens, and I've been hard on them in the past, and I've been very honest, but I really liked their hockey team last year, and this summer, this is the highest I've been on Montreal in I don't know how long I can remember. I'm a huge Noah Dobson fan. They brought in Zach Bolduc from St. Louis. I love his game. You guys are going to love how he plays. So I haven't made my predictions yet, but I'm trying to push Montreal to second or third in the Atlantic. So to answer a question, yes, I have them comfortably in the playoffs, maybe a wild card, but I wouldn't be surprised if they finish second or third in the Atlantic. And remember last year against Florida, they swept us all 4 games. So we are worried in the future in our fan base, in our community. One of my co-hosts, Nick, agrees with me. When we eventually fall off our perch here, Montreal's right at the top there of, taking control of the Atlantic in the next, 4, 5, 6 years when the Panthers have all these contracts that are due and we get a little bit older with our core.
Awesome. I think the fans will hear would be happy to hear that, second or third on that one. That's the question of the night, by the way, guys, at 8:30, 9:30 p.m. Tonight, every day for over 3 years. We never miss one day. We carry on a question a day. The question of the day is a prediction of Montreal Canadiens. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth, 7, and 8. By the way, if the people want to join your YouTube channel, the name is
Cats and Rats. So if you guys just type that into YouTube, you should find it there. I know a connection that you have with me, Coach, with Peter Orell. You told me off air. We just interviewed him. We had Ryan Longberg drop by for about 15, 20 minutes at the Hobby Card Show down there in the Fort Lauderdale Sunrise area. So it was nice to talk to Longberg. We had Randy Moeller on, the color commentator of the Florida Panthers, and we're looking to have more guests come by. So make sure to check out those episodes. You guys will get a lot out of those.
Awesome, and congratulations, by the way. Maurice Robillard, back at home now from Bangkok. Now, he talked about this, and we talk about cat and rat, so we're not to have a question about the rat. He asked you, what is the genesis of the drawing the plastic rats on the ice in Florida? And he said, hello to everybody. Thanks, everyone, to join us. Don't forget, please, to click on the like. Hey, Kirby, what is the story behind the rats?
Yeah, you guys can probably find some of it on YouTube. They've interviewed Scott Mellenby before. He's the main culprit behind it. Brian Scrudland, John Van Beezer. So make sure after this, if you're more curious to find out more, go search YouTube, and there's some stories on the rats. I know TSN did one a few years ago. There was ones done about 10, 15 years ago. So it all started back the season, the Year of the Rat. So the Year of the Rat on the Chinese Zodiac calendar. That's the year that the Panthers went on their miracle run to the Stanley Cup final. It was an October regular season game. One of the early games of the season. It was against the Calgary Flames. I remember that. Scott Mellenby, before the game, there was a rat in the dressing room, locker room, whatever you guys want to call it. And everyone was running around scared. Scott Mellenby, a forward for the Florida Panthers, got his hockey stick and whacked the rat against the wall, killed the rat, went out that night, scored 2 goals against the Calgary Flames. And John Van Beesbrook, I think he was the one to coin it officially, if I'm not mistaken, as the rat trick. So Scott Mellenby had 2 goals that night, killed a rat. That was the third one. That was the rat trick. And that's what started the genesis of fans slowly that season throwing rats onto the ice. And then when the playoffs came around, you saw Tom Barrasso hiding inside the net, Ron Hextall, Patrick Waugh. Unfortunately, I know you guys have a fondness for Patrick Waugh. He was tired of the rats raining down just that one time, and he said, no more rats. And kind of shut down the Panthers' miracle run from there. But yeah, what a miracle run it was, from beating the Boston Bruins and Ray Bourque to Ron Hextall and the Philadelphia Flyers and Eric Lindros, and then taking out Jaromir Jagr, Ron Francis, and Mario Lemieux on one of their best historic seasons. So, and then the Panthers eventually got stopped by the Avalanche in the final. And then the league came down and said, no more rats on the ice because it was delaying play, and they allowed it during that run, but then there was new rules that implemented in. But you still see the fans throw the octopus on the ice or the catfish, and you will see rats come on the ice after Panther win, and they've been doing that for quite a while now, Coach.
Thanks so much for that one. I appreciate that. To explain, I cannot said better at what you just said about the story. I knew about the story, but well done about this. And someone said, P.S. talk about Robert Zevla. I think he was he was the defenseman for the Panthers, honestly. He has something happen to him after his career. I don't know, is it bankruptcy or he have illness or something. You have a story about him, so I don't remember exactly.
Oh, no, I know he finished out with Toronto there, Robert Svela. I think he still might be top 10 or around there in games played in Panthers franchise history. He's up there in points and as well with defensemen. But yeah, I don't know what happened to him afterwards. But yeah,
we have another player who was difficult and something's going on, and then they bring him back in the organization for 1 or 2 years. So I just remember that, but I don't know exactly if it was him or not. Question for Mark. Do you see a little of Bure and Demidov?
Oh, in Demidov's game, like Pavel Bure, the Russian Rocket. I've only seen Demidov a little bit last year, and I'm very impressed by him, and I think he's set up for a good year. I know I've been in the chat with you guys and agree to disagree. I wonder what that connection will be with Patrick Laine, how he will mentor the young Demidov. But yeah, I can definitely see some of that in his game. Some of the K film that I saw overseas where, he can grab the puck from the wing area and then get to the, difficult areas of the ice. I think the next level here in the NHL, it's going to take them a little while to get to those areas. But I think in the regular season, Coach, how the league is now, they don't allow a lot of obstruction and different things like that, clutching, grabbing. I think Demidov's in the right era of hockey right now, where he's going to be able to exploit defenses, get them on their heels, and that's what Pavel Bure was the best at. Pavel Bure used to also cherry pick. I don't know if that would work out so well now in Paul Maurice's system, but if you're playing next to a guy like Barkov and Reinhart, yeah, they'll do all the defensive work for you. So Demidov might have to have a good, line mates on his line with him to be able to do those defensive responsibilities. But yeah, let him shine in the areas that he will. And yeah, we'll see if there's little glimpses of Pavel Bure in there. We hear that about Connor McDavid a lot. Like Connor McDavid's speed, we haven't seen something like that since Pavel Bure.
Yeah, well, it's not about. By the way, I saw him. I'm watching KHL. I had nothing to do, so I'm watching hockey. Just kidding. But I watched KHL, and then I saw him at the game, and he looked good. Like he looked good for his age. I was surprised to see him. He's a little bit more, older, but glad to see Pavel Bure. It's a long time, honestly. I didn't see him. Then at the chat, guys, I think I should be all right. I put the link for Mr. Kirby. You can sign up or there, subscribe, whatsoever. Sometimes I say to people, just subscribe, just helping the creator, and that's okay. You can pop up there sometime, but it's another one. You can see how Kirby is great. By the way, Jim Beringer was with us last night, told me about you guys. You have a great podcast, everything. So congratulations again.
We're going to have Jim come on semi-regular during our NHL After Dark, so you guys will catch him over there. And yeah, my co-hosts, they just love puck. They know everything about the league. And, we get a lot of comments often. Oh, you guys are Panther fans. You guys know puck. Yeah, we do.
There you go. Now he's a great one. Did you ever play hockey, Kirby?
So, again, my dad played growing up, and Coach, I hated the mornings. I got to be honest with you. And I played, Timbits Tyke. And then I was like, enough of these early mornings. So I ended up reffing 1-2 years after I played a season. And I played net a little bit. But later on, I would just play in kind of rec leagues. I wish there was inline leagues up here like there would be in Florida and California. I really liked inline hockey, but I didn't find any leagues in Calgary. So I played just like organized floor hockey leagues, just pick up street hockey stuff. But I was a baseball player growing up. So my brother was a pretty good player. I thought he looked a little bit like Daniel Briere out there on the ice. Kind of did everything well, but didn't do anything like superstar level. So my brother didn't get quite as high up as my dad, but I lived in the rinks, coach. So with my brother, and my mom was a manager of hockey teams. So that's how I really learned the game as well. And I think that's what helped me in coaching later on. I coached basketball, part of a lot of different sports. I could manage baseball if I had to, because I played a lot of years of that. So I just love sports, but hockey was my escape from competitive basketball and baseball. I played soccer growing up. That's a great gateway sport. Just the hand-eye coordination. So I just enjoyed playing hockey for fun, and I like that element because living, whether you're in Eastern Canada or Western Canada, it's everything, right? And when you're in hockey, you're all in. My brother was traveling all around Western Canada for tournaments and things like that. So I just enjoyed being kind of like observer of the game a bit, and then playing for fun when you can get out there on the ice and stuff. Like I could skate all right, but I just enjoyed it for a fun sport instead of just being so serious. My dad was the typical hockey dad, very intense, things like that. So he wasn't as hard on me, and for baseball, and I could find my own path that way and stuff. So yeah, I guess I could have had an opportunity to play, but chose other sports and things like that.
Awesome. We have a few people knock the door. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, please, to click on the like. I appreciate that. Any question you have for Kirby is with us for the next 35 minutes. By the way, Peter, welcome back. And then I want to mention, I think GF is 3-1 for the Jays. If I can follow well your comments about that one. RG considers to deliver some news and update. Talking about news before we go with Atlantic division, and then we'll go to the clash, Kirby. You have a big story happening today in NHL. The NHL have their tour. It's called the Car Wash. The Car Wash is in Vegas right now. The Car Wash, Kirby, is an expression where all the players of each team go to the media, and they met all the the different reporters. They are involved with the TV sponsor, the NHL, like ESPN, Sportnet, and many others. And they are going, and they do interview. For Sidney Crosby, has been there year after year. He was interviewed by different people the last couple of days, last 2 days, honestly. And then the big subject is about what he's going to do, what's the next, what could happen to him and everything. And then he go, I think it's frustration. I'm frustrated sometimes to ask the same question. But he has also, the interview is agent Pat Brisson behind the scenes behind that. And it was different answer by Sidney Crosby about the fact, like, look, he understands what's going on with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He understands the situation and the rumor and what the team's going to do, everything like that. He said with some kind of caution, it's not fun to losing. I play game like I try to win every single game, and I do only what I can control. The rest, I cannot do anything about that. That was pretty much what he said during his interview. Nothing big, nothing wrong. I want to go somewhere, not allowed. But he was just open up. Losing is not fun to do or to have. And then, but he understands the rebuilding or retours like the Pittsburgh's doing right now. He understands the situation. But Pat Brisson opened up more and his agent about the fact, like, we never know what could happen. We have to see what will be the next direction, everything like that. And we'll go from there. Other reporter report Montreal will be his first destination. They asked him about how he feel about Montreal Canadiens, his love, everything. He mentioned Crosby and so that. And then he talked about his agent about Colorado. Could be, he never said Colorado, but he just said he's a really good friend at Nathan McKinnon. So that said, what do you think Sidney Crosby is going to do? My point to you is going to be a lifetime at Pittsburgh Penguins. Do you think he would be traded at some point, or he will going to leave the Pittsburgh Penguins? And what it will be his destination? Do you see him more with the Colorado Avalanche? Do you see him more with the Montreal Canadiens? Or it could be another destination in NHL. So ABC, let you on the floor right now and tell us what you think about Sidney Crosby situation.
Wow, Coach, we did not talk about this off air, and I was going to bring this up to you because I think this Sidney Crosby thing is a little bit more of a hot topic than what Crosby and his camp coming up to this interview, you said, have really led on and insinuated. By the way, I haven't paid attention to that. I think Sam Reinhart was our guy that was at the media today or something like that. So, but anyways, back to Crosby. I've always had the indication that he wants to go play with Nathan MacKinnon in Colorado. But now Montreal's kind of slipped in the side door here, the back door here, with being a very competitive hockey team and somewhere where he can maybe envision being a mistake. Correct me if I'm not wrong, Coach. Montreal was his favorite team growing up.
Yep, exactly
Yep.
what you said today also.
Yeah, so yeah, that's always in the back of my mind there. And Montreal is at the right step right now where they're looking for a 2C. They've got Nick Suzuki that could be mentored and tutored there. So that's kind of jumbled within the roster. And it's just a perfect fit for Montreal and where they're at right now. If Sidney Crosby wants to leave Pittsburgh, I've always thought Colorado would be a perfect fit for him. As you mentioned, with his good friend Nathan MacKinnon, they train all off season. They're in Tim Hortons commercials together up here in Canada. Like they spend so much time together. And I think this is the thing, Coach, with Best on Best now. I think Crosby is getting that itch a bit. He might not be admitting it to the public or to the media and things like that. But when he's going to play these Best on Best with Canada, Florida would have been in the mix for Crosby if Sam Bennett didn't get extended this summer. They would have had an opportunity to be able to bring him in, play him behind Barkov, play with Brad Marchand, another one of his friends. So I think that's out of the equation as of now with the Sam Bennett signing. But I think Colorado and Montreal, I don't know how to put it, like 1A, 1B. I think either has a good pitch to make for Sidney Crosby. And to answer your question, I think it would be a trade. Because he's always kind of linked up his, extensions with, re-extending with Pittsburgh and what have you. I think it would become to a point where he's like, enough is enough here. There's losing, but then there's bottoming out. And if the team's going in the direction of a rebuild, it's like maybe he said an answer to them at start, but now he might have a different answer. And Kyle Dubas is there with the Fenway Sports organization, and they're talking about reselling the team to another ownership group, and then that ends up more. And it's like, okay, maybe I envisioned ending my career in Pittsburgh, but other guys like Ray Bourque and Patrick Waugh and other players, they never finished out their careers there. And he's like, yeah, Mario Lemieux did, and I always envisioned myself being a lifelong Penguin, but it just might not play out that way. And when you have these best on best Olympics and World Cups, it's very tantalizing when you're looking across the room in Canada and you see all these Florida Panthers with Stanley Cup rings, Colorado Avalanche players. That's half the room, Coach, or more. And it's like, I might want another cup, right? I know he has a cup. I know he has a few, but maybe I want another crack.
Well said about the situation with Sidney Crosby. Luc Martin knocked the door with Mr. A2. Welcome, both of you. Couple of comments in the chat about Sidney Crosby. Of course, you bring something very interesting when you said that fun things about Sidney Crosby. And you talk about Ray Bourque and you talk about other players and the situation with Mario Lemieux. So the Pittsburgh Penguins is going to have a cell of their team. They have two groups, the Mario Lemieux group and another group from outside of this organization. I think it's coming from Colorado or something else. That said, for me, he reminds me more Tom Brady. And when I said Tom Brady, that way. Tom Brady left the Patriots after he accomplished amazing things. And he reached milestone, everything. Then he went to Tampa, win the Super Bowl. That said, Brady finished at 42, 43, 45 years old to play football. If one player can play over 40 years old, it's Sidney Crosby, I believe. Sidney Crosby could play, I believe, for me, another 3, 4, 5 years in NHL. And you're not going to see a lot of regression. The way he's prepared, the way he works, the way he is always on the A's game is going to be, I believe, the thing's going to get him. If he leave the Pittsburgh Penguins, is going to be for a couple of years. Also, it's all depend the cost of to trade Sidney Crosby. And that will now be the next big things if Crosby leave the Pittsburgh Penguins. Is Crosby going to sit one day with the two bus and maybe the owners, explain the situation with Pat Brisson? And I see the figure, this is that meeting, and they will put the plan on the paper, the plan, what he's looking for, what he would like to do. And I think Pittsburgh is going to let him go wherever he wants to go. But again, Pittsburgh would like to get something in return. If that's normal, that's okay. But don't think everybody you're going to get the same value like Connor McDavid or a top 3 player in NHL. I'm going to surprise everyone. Don't expect too much. The cost be very high. It will be high, but not very high. Why? Because it's a loyalty of what Crosby did to the Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh going to give the same thing to Crosby at the same time. That's what it would be and again, it could be a first-round pick, could be a prospect that would reshape a little bit more the Pittsburgh Penguins and for the long term. And that would be maybe the way both parties can have some kind of separation, but with an agreement and not some kind of, angry or upset someone. That would be my feeling about Sidney Crosby. But again, you said really well. McKinnon friend.
Yeah, and Coach, Habs fans and Habs Nation should be excited on the fact that, you're starting to become a contending team and you have the assets and the capital to be able to make that move with Pittsburgh with, young defensemen, young draft picks and what have you there. And you have the hole and need in your roster where Crosby would fit in perfectly, where in other rosters, like say in Tampa and Florida, the no state income tax, very, attractive markets, they might not have that spot in position for an older Sidney Crosby. Now, if it's Connor McDavid, all 31 teams are going to make room for Connor McDavid. But where Crosby is at his point in his career, I think you're looking at Montreal, Colorado, and very few other teams.
Definitely about that. And that would be interesting. Now, people say, what he would bring to Montreal because Suzuki is the first center. Don't worry about that. Crosby is going to fit very well on the second center. A little bit like John Tavares did with the Toronto Maple Leafs. My situation. Secondly, he bring the professionalism for everyone around him. His karma and the way he prepared were helping a long term the player like Hudson, Demidov, the young kids around the team. This is going to be, if it's happening, guys, this bet put the Montreal Canadiens on the next level, not only to win to go in the playoff every year. It's about what he will leave inside the team for a long term after that. And that's, for me, that's another reason what we see. Again, we have to wait with the cost, everything, I don't know. But I would say to you, if you asking me this question last week or 2 weeks ago, do you think Sidney Crosby is going to be with Montreal? I said, no, not at all. Today, I would say that I have maybe 50% maybe high, but I would say to you, I don't know to close the door. I think that the door is open, but we have to wait what we see. And I can understand you said Nathan McKinnon with the Colorado Avalanche. The problem, not a problem, but the salary cap of the Colorado is different at the Montreal Canadiens, and to fit Mr. Crosby with the Colorado, they will have to figure out something else because they have contract over there and the salary cap is really tight. And with Avalanche, they have to make a trade. Montreal is more flexible with what they got. Yeah, you have to pay Hudson later. You have to pay Demidov and maybe follow later too. But I think if Crosby's coming, Laine is not going to be part of the team after that next year, and that will open up that kind of money for Crosby. But we have to wait. I think this is a great thing. What could happen for that one? Use one trade. What's the need to get Crosby and 26? So me, coach, let's do it. 82 about that. Mr. Jim Beringer is in the house with a full press. Okay, if Islami come back in the fall, that could change a lot of things for Crosby at the Pittsburgh Penguins. A great point about that. Gary said Crosby trade would be like the Reebok trade to the Avalanche. The Avalanche did not give up that much. Randy not allowed it. Crosby not this year. I think it will want to break Mario all-time record before 40 points away. Pittsburgh would probably ask a first one, second, a young prospect so we can support. Yeah, I think the same way too about that. So we go there. We can talk about Crosby the next after Kirby left because we want to leave you.
One point there, Coach, really quick. The Jaromir Jagr influence on Florida, I've seen it firsthand with Alexander Barkov and Jonathan Huberdeau. Huberdeau probably wouldn't have been the player that he was without Jaromir Jagr coming in the latter stages of his career. That turns Huberdeau into Tkachuk, Barkov, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. So never underestimate, a legend player coming in at whatever point of his career to shape and mold and change the look of your franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it's going to be very interesting. A little bit like contract. McDavid is going to be the hot topic all year long. Pittsburgh was going to visit Montreal. Crosby will be a hot topic talking about his situation. And everywhere he will could go would be like this. It's a little bit what was going to happen with Quinn Hughes the next 2 years with Vancouver Canucks, Kirby. And it's happened the last couple of weeks, a month, with the situation with the Florida Panthers about Bennett, Marchand, and Ekblad. Well done, Mr. Bill Zito. I give you my hat up for you because you get 3 of them. I was expect 2 of them. I knew Ekblad go nowhere because I know Ekblad. I know what he bring. You know, if one player will stay all his career with the Panthers, is Ekblad and Barkov. But congratulations for your team, by the way, for that one. Let's go with the Atlantic Division, if you don't mind. It's a little bit what we're going to do here, guys. We apologize for yesterday, guys. We have a power out at some point. I live in the jungle in Thailand, Mr. Kirby. So we have a call the animal, monkey, and elephant, everything like that. And the power get out yesterday. But we still are. You know what? It's amazing.
In the background.
It's amazing. So you have to be a B-plan if something happened like that. And my phone pick up my internet on the background, and I use my iPhone, but I could be live, but my camera does not working, so I don't want to get Facebook. Anyway, my story behind that, we stay live, and then the power came back, and then we come back, and Jim came back also at the same time. It was really wild night last night, but we are back now tonight and looking good. Atlantic Division, I know where you at on that one. I know you are going to do that division next week. I'm going to be his podcast next week, guys. You can join us 9:45 next week on the
Live
Cat
stream,
and
Coach,
Rats
live stream.
podcast.
Live stream. Yeah, they can come by.
Here we go. It says for the last 10 division champion in the Atlantic Division, from the Panthers to the Boston Bruins, the Panthers again, Boston Bruins, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. They lead about 3 times the Panthers, 3 times the Boston Bruins. 6 of the last 10 years were 2 of them, and then the Panthers and the Tampa and the Montreal with 2 of them to complete only. So you can see, guys, only 4 teams win the division in the last 10 years at the Atlantic Division. That's pretty really impressive about that one. We're going to go that way, if you don't mind, and we're going to play because we don't have enough time. We have 18 minutes. We have to go through this, and then we have to go with the clash. So let's move on with this one. Buffalo Sabres, last year, they had 79 points, Kirby. And the people in the chat can tell me, we did the game last week, it's called Under and Over. I gave them 82.5 points, Kirby, for the Buffalo Sabres next year. Are you under or over?
Wow, Coach put me on the spot here. By the way, you didn't show Toronto on the division. They're going to be mad. Toronto that hadn't won in, 20 years or something like that. Oh, Buffalo. Coach, I haven't dug into our preview shows. We're probably going to do Buffalo here in a few weeks. I'm just not high on this organization. Kevin Adams on the hot seat right now. Giving up Dylan Cousins in that trade. What for Josh Norris? 79 last year, 82.5. Maybe slightly to the over, Coach, but I am not confident on this team on and off the ice.
Yeah, on that one, I'll go with over. And we'll give you 2 examples. 2 players who are going to make this team really well for the upcoming. One is going to be Tage Thompson. Thompson is going to be on fire because he wanted to be with Team USA. He scored 44 goals last season, lead the second best most goal in the NHL. Ramis Dallin, I think, is going to make a huge season for the Buffalo Sabres. That said, there's not a team's going to make the playoff for the 15 years. And we'll see what Josh Norris is going to bring for them. But look, I go with 83 points for that team. But not the playoff.
And Tage Thompson not being on the Four Nations team last year, that was malpractice by the Team USA represents. I had him on my top 6 on the Four Nations. Didn't even make the roster.
Yeah. We have a lot of great people in the chat, and they knows everything. And every time we make a mistake, they want to remind you, look, where are the
But
leave?
see,
If you look about the graphic, guys, he missed 1 year, the year 2024, 2025. That's the year they won the division, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So it's not a
hey, but
mistake.
you're a Habs podcast. Who cares? Who cares?
Exactly about that. So we can put the leave one there and then remove one of the Boston Bruins if you don't want to go perfectly right. Hey guys, I will give the last 11 years. So let's move on for the Detroit Red Wings, Mr. Kirby. And the Detroit Red Wings, they did 86 points last year. A couple of players they did, they get a couple of goaltender, Gibson now, and they have Kane come back, and they're going to be a little bit more better for me. 86.5. Did not give them too much increasing, but 85, 86.5. Are you under or over?
Coach, another team I am not high on. They did bring in John Gibson here in the offseason. Before, they were running with 5 goalies. And when I say you have 3 or 4 goalies, Coach, that means you have none. So this year, them going with John Gibson, it's a little bit more stable in net. But what's John Gibson's problem? Health. So if he misses time, I think this can be way under, and this team could finish last in the division. Patrick Kane, he's looked good since coming to Detroit. Florida was sniffing around on him. Ends up in Detroit. He's played very well over the last couple of years, but when do those wheels fall off, so to speak? You got a young blue line. You're still trying to figure things out there. Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, they're pieces, but are they top pieces in this Atlantic division? I would argue no, they're not. John Gibson has to stay healthy for this number to go over. I'm going to predict it slightly goes under. This team could finish last in the division if Buffalo doesn't.
You're right about that. I go with under for the Detroit Red Wings. I know they have a lot of things there, but I still believe that Detroit could be the last season with Steve Yzerman with the team. We have to see what he's going to do. I think he's going to have Steve Yzerman is going to feel pressure. I think they're going to move something happening early in November, or not early. In November, December, Detroit is going to be on the trade market at some point. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Dylan Larkin might want out, so we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. The next team is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Here we go. 106 points last season. Under or over? And I go a little bit more slightly with 104.5.
Yeah, Coach. That's a high number. I don't even project us to always be there because you're trying to not limp into the playoffs. Where Florida is at now, where Tampa's at now, they're not looking to win the division. Now Toronto has finally accomplished that in the first time in over 20 years. So I don't think that's going to be their goal coming into this year. It didn't work out so well for them with home ice against the Panthers, losing in game 5 and 7, getting the doors blown off them. So I think home ice advantage for Toronto is actually a disadvantage. So I don't think they're going to be striving for that division. I was surprised under Craig Berube how quickly they put it together last year and were very consistent from the beginning of the season through the end of the year. And I am the biggest critic of Mitch Marner, but this team is now trying to replace Mitch Marner with 3-4 pieces. That's going to take time with Nicholas Waugh, Michelli coming in there, with Dakota Joshua coming over to the Leafs from the Canucks. So that's going to take time to kind of get their forward lines going. They're going to be asking a lot of Domi and Tavares this year. I really question how much they are. You've got Matthews' health looming, and then you need Nylander to take, even an extra little step forward in the regular season without having Mitch Marner there. Their whole power play is going to look different now as well without Mitch Marner and him being out there for special teams and 5v5 play. I don't think I have Toronto. Again, I haven't put the standings together, but I don't think I have Toronto winning the division this year. This might be a slight under. I could see somewhere around 98 to 101, somewhere in that range, maybe slightly higher, but under this number, Coach.
Yeah, well done. Well said about this. A lot of people in the chat. Welcome back, Marco Larrabee. Marco Larrabee will be here tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. with a special guest. Be tuned on that one. And then we have a couple more people knock the door. Welcome, everybody. Don't forget, please click on the likes. I go with you. Maybe they will reach the 100 point, but all the factors you mentioned, I 100% with you. Well done about the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they will make it, but I think it would be a team, would be a philosophy. So wait, we're not going to only make the playoff, but after that, we have to, how we can prepare for the playoffs. So I think it will be chemistry-wise, and then after the trade deadline will be interesting with Toronto. They're still missing, in my opinion, the same thing. The top six is never be complete. Always missing one piece of the puzzle, and they are the same boat right now with Marner out. So, again, is it Domi, Matt Silly is going to bet that role or not, and that's not good enough, in my opinion. But we have to wait how he's going to fix it with Greg Berube. Second year as a coach. You Panthers, 98-point coach, what you did for Kirby. I get with 100.5 for the Panthers for upcoming season without catch-up for a couple of months. But otherwise, this pretty much the same thing. The big piece of the puzzle are still intact, but still missing. They have a couple of players left, but more the support of the players and more not the top of the players. So what do you expect for your team?
Yeah, Coach, you said you have them at 105?
100.5.
Oh, 100.5. Okay. Yeah, again, just before we move on from Toronto, you wonder what they're going to do at the deadline with assets they might not have. That's the problem we get into my Florida Panthers. What assets will they have at the deadline? They've wanted to hold on to Evan Rodriguez here. AJ Greer is going to be a free agent here coming up next year. That could be a bit of a loss, on that fourth line. They're trying to move pieces around right now with Matthew Tkachuk's LTIR status. Of course, Matthew Tkachuk wants to play in the Olympics and then be able to play for the Panthers come the postseason. So that's a big piece of the lineup. A youngster in Mackie Samoskevich is going to have to step up. Paul Maurice doesn't always look to the youngsters. Mackie scored 15 goals last year, but did not really see much time in the playoffs. So he had a pretty good regular season. They're going to need him on that second line to be able to add 70-80% of the loss of a Matthew Tkachuk. So I think that's going to hurt the point total for the Panthers this year. Blue line's intact. The top three lines outside of Tkachuk are intact with Marchand back, with Luosterainen, Lundell. Best third line in hockey, I will say. So down the middle of the ice, the Panthers are very solidified. But, having Matthew Tkachuk out of the lineup, if you face another injury or two, that's going to hurt the Panthers' chances to be able to compete for the division, be somewhere in that second, third seed spot. But they don't mind being their coach. 98, that's a pretty sharp number. I might lean slightly to the over, but not by much.
Yeah. Honestly, between 99 to 102 will be my prediction, but I will go with a little bit over because I believe the Atlantic season is going to be a tough one. And so we have a lot of bad dog between other teams, and I think that will be regress a couple of teams with less points. So I'll go with the over for the Panthers. Let's move on for the next one, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa did 102 point last season. This is nobody talk about the Panthers. They all say they're going to get old and they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and then they slip late like nobody said. Oh, they did 102 point last season. That's pretty much what. Wow, he finished second, by the way. And my over is 99.5.
99.5. That's a pretty good number there, Coach. This team, oh man. I usually know what to expect from the Tampa Bay Lightning. They used to be the bullies of the Atlantic Division before the Panthers became that. And you could project and predict where they're going to be. But with Andre Vasilevsky, they continue to ride this guy into the ground. I don't think that helps him, by the end of the regular season. It gets them into the playoffs, but they seem to be limping in because they're not valuing the backup goaltending position. I don't know why JoJo is the backup for the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Brian Elliott's of the world and all of these guys. Support your starting goalie, your horse, give them something behind. And the other problem is the defense. It's got older in the tooth, longer in the tooth. How much tread does Hedman have left on the tires? They bring back Ryan McDonough because they missed him so much, Coach, but now he's another year older. And you've got guys back there that, are asked to do more than they have to, the Chernaks of the world and what have you. So, again, Pervik's a pretty good defenseman. But I don't love their blue line. I don't love their goaltending depth behind Vasi. You're going to need guys like Jake Gensel to have career years again. He did an excellent job coming over from the Pittsburgh Penguins via the Carolina Hurricanes when they let Steven Stamkos walk to the Nashville Predators. Again, their health's going to be important for this team. And I also question a little bit of their depth. They started to find some depth pieces in the bottom six there heading into the playoffs. So many pundits were picking the Tampa Bay Lightning to beat the Florida Panthers because of that. So we'll see what their depth looks like this year up front, but I'm not super high in Tampa Bay. This is one of the lowest I've been on them. They could finish anywhere, coach, from first in the division to second wild card, potentially outside miss if you've got Ottawa, Montreal, teams like that cooking with Florida and Toronto, obviously. So there is potential that this team can miss. But if you're asking over under, I'm going to have under by a slight moderate bit, maybe as low as 96, 97.
So we go under for the Tampa Bay Lightning on that one with Randy also and Mark Elliott. Let's move on for the next team. And we're going to jump in on that one. Is going to be the Boston Bruins. Boston Bruins have only 76 points last season. They was very active at the trade deadline. And they got asset and return. And this is a team now with McEnroy is going to be back recovery over his injury. Pasternak have a great year, 106 points for Pasternak. And then Swimmen, they're not looking good between the pipes. So under or over for 81.5 points.
Coach, where are you at on that one?
81.5.
Okay. Oh man, that's your number right there. I don't know. Okay, we talk about wins in our community, in our Cats and Rats community. This was a loss for myself and my co-hosts Cody and Nick. We had the Boston Bruins winning the division last summer. I think the whole Jeremy Swayman thing threw it for a loop there, Coach. He wasn't able to get a training camp under his feet. I thought he would find his game as the season went along, but he was never able to. And then you fire your coach, Jim Montgomery. Ends up doing a great job in St. Louis. By the way, they're my dark horse in the Western Conference to win that conference and maybe compete for the President's Trophy. I really like what they're doing there as a dark horse team. I don't really know what to expect of this Bruins team. Charlie McAvoy's got to be a lot better. They're putting a lot on David Pasternak's shoulders. You're going to need some of the young guys, Poitras and other guys, to step up. Mason Lowry's got to have a bounce back year. He wasn't too good last year. They asked him to do a lot. Nikita Zadorov that came in as a free agent. Elias Lindholm, don't love him as a number 1C, especially in the division that Boston is in. Our fan base has always given them some modicum of respect because of having our playoff wars against them, what they did a couple of years ago winning the President's Trophy. I don't really know what to expect of this team. But in saying that, 81.5 is a pretty low number, Coach. I'll go over the number, but this team is very hard to project here heading into the new season.
Yeah, I can understand your point of view about this. So we go under, in my opinion. This is a team I'm watching before Thanksgiving or until Thanksgiving, because this is a team, it does not perform at the beginning. They have a new head coach. They have Poitras and Menden is going to be the prospect for them. And then we'll see what it looks like. The core is not too bad. He's going to suffer of the departure of Carlo, but Lindholm, Zadorov, and McEnroy are going to be the pick on that one. That bottom six is not great, but we have to see what they're going to look like. For me, I go under, and I feel like that team is going to try to get a top 5 players on the NHL draft. They're not going to not rebuilding, but they're going to retool quickly. They have 2 first-round picks next year, and they have 2 after that. This is a team I believe they're going to go to another direction. And I think, like you said, not looking good for the upcoming season. The next team, before we hit the Montreal Canadiens, is Ottawa Senators. 97 points they did last season, under or over 98.5.
Wow. So in our community, there's a bit of agree to disagree here on the Ottawa Senators. If you're going to see a slight regression or a slight improvement. I am a big goalie fan, Coach, so I call myself the leader of the goalie union. Ottawa finally stabilized themselves in net with Ullmark, and I think, if he stays healthy, he had a little bit of injuries there last year, but if he can stay healthy, that really solidifies you in net. I think another year of Jake Sanderson, I think he is one of the young emerging D-men in the NHL. I'm super high on this guy, even on best competition. I trust him. He got a little taste of the playoffs last year with Brady Tkachuk. Remember, all these young core guys, Stützle, this is their first taste of playoffs, and I think that's going to make them hungry. New ownership there, Coach. We talk about teams that have unstable ownership or management, like we talked about earlier with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Ottawa has that all in line. They got the new arena. The shovels are in the ground there. So a lot of good vibes going on in Ottawa right now. I'd be moderately surprised if they took a step back from last year. This is a team like Montreal that I would not be surprised to see top 3 in the Atlantic Division. If you see slippage from Toronto, Tampa, even if Florida regresses a little bit with the Matthew Tkachuk situation, they're fine being in a playoff spot, be it even in a wild card situation. So it wouldn't shock me if, say, Ottawa was like 3rd in the division, Coach. This is a very tight number. Oh, I don't know. This one's hard, Coach. I don't know what to do here. 97 last year, 98.5. I'm even though I'm saying confident, Coach, maybe slightly under to your number here.
Okay, I'm going to go over. I think this is going to be my wild card team this season in the Atlantic Division. I won't talk more about this in your show, but I expect that Ottawa doing well this year. The key word you said, vibes over there. And I think Brady Tkachuk is going to be on a mission again this year. Souza will be one more year experience. I think for me to get Dylan Cousin is a great additional. And they got Jordan Spence. We don't talk a lot on the blue line. And Jake Sanderson is going to be an X factor for them. Key, the goaltender. We'll see what Ullmark can do well. No injury for Ullmark. That will be really where I expect what could be the difference for the Ottawa Senators. And finally, the Montreal Canadiens, they did 91 points last year. Under over 92.5.
Well, Coach, I have Montreal and Ottawa toe-and-toe. And even if I have Ottawa under that number that you just mentioned, 98.5, say they're a 96, 97-point team, that's still usually comfortably in a wild card position. You could even be 3rd in the division as well. This number is a lot lower than where Ottawa's is. I'm going to easily take this to the over. This is the highest I've been on the Montreal Canadiens, like I said, maybe in my lifetime, Coach. I'm being honest here. Like what Nick Suzuki proved to me last year, I never saw that from him before. And as an outside fan, I'm like, this dude is legit. He should be in the Team Canada camp. They should definitely be looking at this guy. To me, he reminds me of like a mini Barkov. Like he just does everything out there on the ice. He's a clutch player. He focuses at both ends of the rink. The question marks for me is like Patrick Laine again. You know, getting benched in the playoffs. How will he look here for the Montreal Canadiens? You've got enough firepower kind of now up front on the wings. I feel that you can supplement what Laine brings to you. You also have the blue liners in Hudson and Dobson, who I'm a big fan of, I told you. Even if Hudson has a little bit of a sophomore slump, I still think it's going to be fine with that blue line that you've implemented there. Caden Gooley, I'm a huge fan of him. We got a guy in Gustav Forsling. Caden Gooley is an emerging top defensive defenseman in the league. If he can stay healthy, he's had a bunch of injuries already in his short career. If he can stay healthy, he is a lockdown defender that Montreal needs. And Coach, I know I talked to you about this in your chat. Mike Matheson, you're not asking to be a number 1 defenseman anymore. You can play him down the lineup as a 4-5. You can use him as a trade asset. I know you mentioned you want to stick with him this year. Maybe even have a small extension to keep him there in Montreal. But the blue line is looking so good for Montreal. You got to see what Ryan Bacher can bring you. But like a guy like Bolduc, he's a deadly finisher in the high slot area. He adds a little sandpaper. The one drawback to Montreal is you've lost some of those depth piece guys in Dvorak, and I'm forgetting the other one here. You've got Josh Anderson, right?
Yeah. For you talk about the bottom 6?
Yeah, bottom 6. I'm forgetting a guy.
Yeah, Gallagher, Evans, Anderson. And then Joe Villano is going to be part of this. With right now, Bolduc, they're going to expect Bolduc going to be that, and Newhook.
Yeah, and Newhook too. But you lost Dvorak and someone else in the summer. Who was it, Coach?
Joe Villano.
Yes. Armia or whatever. Yes. So
yes,
like again,
Sammy Blair also could be on the 13th forward for them. It will be very interesting what they're going to do. On the flip side, they let go Armia, Dvorak, Pesera. They trade Henneman and Mayu, and David Sauer get retired with the Montreal Canadiens. So now, I go with over on that one.
Over the number.
Yeah, I go with you on over on that one. That's give us a bit what we feel like. You know, you had the Panthers around 100, Toronto, Tampa Bay. For me, Ottawa, that's a 4 team over there. They're going to play there. At the bottom, I still believe Boston, Detroit, Boston, and the Buffalo is going to fight there. And then you have the Montreal and alone there. And then Detroit, what are you going to be? Is it with Montreal, or are they going to be at the bottom with a two other teams. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to give you guys something special here. And this is not my final. Sorry about that. It's not my final.
You got to leave that on there for the brand.
It's not my final prediction. I still have a couple of weeks to figure out that, but that's give you a little bit more an idea what could happen for the upcoming. But I have to work more on this. Just give you what it's going to look like for our people can know that. So look, wait 1 hour. Do you have 10 minutes to do the clash?
Yes, Coach. Of course I do.
Awesome. Let's go do the clash for everybody. And then we're going to let go Kirby. Then I'm going to finish with a couple more things to do with all of you guys on this. Don't forget, please, to click on the like. If you don't mind, that'd be great. And don't forget, tonight at 8:30 p.m., Mr. Marco Larrabee is back in the house with a special guest. Is going to be with us at 8:45. Don't miss. There's going to be someone you don't expect. Here we go. First one, it's all about the Panthers tonight on the Clash, guys. It compare with Montreal, maybe, but we'll see. Sam Reinhart, 45.5 goal next season. Amazing, great year the 2 years ago on number the goal. He became a bit more 200 feet game, I believe, under Paul Maurice, by the way. Less goal last season, but you expect come back with 45.5 overall.
Yeah, Coach. If I got to say here, so you want me over under here?
Yeah, it's just like, do you think you're going to go over or under on that one?
Yeah. I'm going to go, absolutely here. I'm going to go over. Sam Reinhart has been a power play merchant for the Panthers, but if you use the word merchant, that's kind of like downplaying his game. He's become a complete 200-foot player, power play guy, 5v5 guy. Plays that top line now with Barkov. They have that really good synergy there. So, again, this is a guy that's scoring at a minimum usually 15, 16 power play goals. And then they're going to lean on this top line, I think, a little bit more with Matthew Tkachuk out. So they are going to have to find goals in the regular season. It's going to have to be from Sam Reinhart. And he's usually pretty durable, can stay healthy. He was banged up there in the playoffs, Coach. In the Carolina series and in the Edmonton series. So, again, he scores those 4 goals there to clinch the Stanley Cup. He was banged up. Throughout the playoffs there. So I think he's going to be ready to go. I think he should be around, that 50 number, maybe slightly above.
So I'm going to give you the Pete, your answer after that. Don't worry about that, Pete. I apologize. I saw your question early, but let me about 5 minutes, Pete. Pete, we're going to answer you. Welcome back. But it look like you fixed all the problem you have with your plumbing and the house. Sam Bennett, more point que Demidov.
Can I ask you a question first on that, Coach? How many points do you expect from Demidov? And then that'll
57.
Be my answer. 57. Okay.
Yep.
Do you know Sam Bennett's career high in points? We always talk about this.
Yeah, I think is this 54?
It's last season, right? Yeah, right around 52, 54. He was never a 50-point player until last year, and that was his contract year, Coach. So he cashed in not only by having a career year regular season, which just slightly above his career high, and then the playoffs is just when he went off. Sam Bennett is a playoff guy. So again, you said Demidov, 56 points, you said?
I gave him 57 points for Demidov.
57. If that's what Demidov is, I'm going with you, Coach. Bennett will be below that total. I think Bennett is a career 45 to 52-point guy. Yeah, he's not going to have his line mate in Matthew Tkachuk. I think that's going to hurt him some nights. He is not a playmaker as a centerman. He is a line driver, and when you don't have Matthew Tkachuk there, setting you up, driving the net, things like that, he's going to have to force a little bit more play and action. So, yeah, if you think Demidov's at that number, maybe it's a hot take for some people out there, but if that's where Demidov's around, I'll have Bennett slightly below Demidov.
Very interesting for Bennett. 51 points is the highest number. It was last year. I said 54, so it was very close, but I knew it was 25 goals. But one statistic I'm really shocking for Bennett, minus 15.
Yeah, that second line for the Panthers, they don't get asked to play too much defense there, Coach. And Matthew Tkachuk, during the regular season, you guys not being Panther fans, he can infuriate you. He floats around out there and does certain things. You guys probably watch him when the playoffs come, and that's again, that's what that second line is built for, the playoffs. Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk. They've had Erod on that line. Other guys in the past, they'll kind of like integrate guys in and off of that second line there. So more playoff performers. Paul Maurice doesn't ask them for defensive assignments.
And guys, if you are a little bit worried about the face-off, said very important for the face-off for Montreal Canadiens, you have to get a left shoulder and you have to get 50. And Doc is at 30, whatever they are. Sam Bennett, guys, 46.2% face-off. He never reached over 48.5 with the Florida Panthers. So just give you an idea.
Coach, we get on him all the time. We get him on all the time. Be better in the draw. Every post game. Be better.
I just want to mention that.
I have to pick up for him. Yep.
And by the way, Kirby, he shot 422 shots last year, guys. This is his highest number, the shot in NHL. My point behind that, like sometimes you have to go a little bit more deeper when you study a players. I apologize, I did not do too much on that one because I didn't pay attention too much. But
30%. Was that a career high or was right around there? So, yeah, he's got to kind of find those numbers. Career year last year, but again, contract year, Coach.
Yeah. Again, a very good player, by the way. I'm not want to discredit him. I just give you some stat around him about that. He's a Mr. Playoff, in my opinion. That's for sure. Next one, Barkov win the Selke again.
Well, Coach, this is a reputation award, so being a reputation award, and I am a Barkov truther. That's my guy. So, sure, right now you're asking me the question. Sure, the Selke. Last year he got it over, the likes of Sam Reinhart. Leafs Nation was a little upset that Austin Matthews might not have been further up there. So it is a reputation award. Alexander Barkov has taken over for Patrice Bergeron now with that award, as he is now retired, a name from the past for you guys. Guy Carbonneau. Bob Gainey going back in time as well, I think. So it is a reputation award. Barkov is always going to be at the top there, but it was nice to see Sam Reinhart finish, I believe, second in Selke nomination last year, playing alongside Barkov. You don't see that too often. Two guys on the same team, on the same line, finishing 1-2 for the Selke. But if you're giving me a Barkov question like that, I'm going to hit it out of the ballpark and say, sure, why not? Another Selke for Alexander Barkov.
Yeah, I will give him that one for sure. Definitely on that one. On the Barkov, I don't see anybody yet, but we'll see. The next one's really interesting, guys. Don't want to put you on the hot seat on that one, but I think people will say, wow, really? Anyway, sometimes I do the clash and I do a little bit quick. This one I really thinking. And here you go. And I put Reinhart, Barkov, and Verhey together. I think they was played the most of the time together on the first line, right? So here's the question to you, Mr. Kirby. The Florida Panthers first line with 204 points last season. More points que the Montreal Canadiens first line, Suzuki, Sakowski, and Caulfield. They did 210 points last season.
Wow. Okay. Coach really putting the numbers out here. Coach, I went to school for broadcasting, not for math, so I might not be the guy to ask on this one. The top line last year saw at times Barkov and Reinhart and Erod together. And then, but like you said, majority with Verhage. But Verhage might have to play a little bit with Sam Bennett and Mackie Samoskevich with, Matthew Tkachuk being all the lineup. And they do like having kind of Verhage on that second line. In playoff situations with Bennett and Tkachuk. So you're really going to wonder what the Florida kind of top six is going to shake out and look like, where I think, if I'm not mistaken, with Montreal, you guys are pretty lockstep on what your first line is going to look like this year with Slafkovsky, Caulfield, and what did you say? Sorry?
Sakowski, Caulfield, and Suzuki.
Suzuki, of course, down the middle. So, again, that line was the best in the NHL last year for what? Like a 25 to 40 game stretch there. And I told our fans that, and they're like, Kirby, stop pumping the tires of the Montreal Canadiens. I'm like, I'm watching this top line and they're dynamic. And I thought there would be a little bit of a fall off in Caulfield's game that we have seen in the past. And he just took off from the start of the year to the end of the year. He had that good chemistry too with Lane Hudson that I saw a lot of times on the power play. So I think the Montreal Canadiens are going to really make hay on the power play. You had a guy like Noah Dobson if you want to run a 2 power play look. So if you're talking total overall points, I think that Montreal first line is going to get a lot of point and a lot of opportunities on the power play. You add that into there. You take away Matthew Tkachuk from Reinhart and Barkov on the power play. Power play at times in Florida hasn't always clicked. You're going to take a big piece off in Matthew Tkachuk there. They're going to figure out, hey, do we run with Aaron Ekblad? Do we run with Seth Jones? They used to run with Brandon Montour a couple years ago. So they're still figuring out what to do on that power play with Matthew Tkachuk out. So, man, this is such a tough one here, Coach. But like right now, you'd have to give a slight lean to Montreal on this, but I don't know how all the point totals are going to shuffle out. But again, like I told you, Reinhart and Barkov are going to have to produce. So how close this was last year, Coach, I see it the same way. If there's any regression in Slafkovsky's game or Caulfield takes a step back to where he was 2-3 years ago, I think this is advantage Florida. But if you believe the top line of the Canadiens will play like they did last year and even continue to grow a bit, then maybe a slight advantage to Montreal here.
Yeah, would be very interesting. I'll go with Montreal too on that one. Many of you guys in the chat will tell me that. I'm looking for the stat for the Panthers. I'm shaking my head, my friend, because
I just want to add too, Barkov. Barkov always misses time. We call it like the Barkov flu. So he'll get sick and he'll miss like 6-8 games. Sometimes he'll get banged up with a shoulder injury or some type of like contact injury, non-contact away from the play, or a guy runs at him. So if he misses any time, Coach, that's going to continue to hurt the numbers there as well. So you always got to bake in Barkov's going to miss 5-10 games. He's always going to be around a point per game guy, Coach, but he's never going to be that 90, 100-point guy, especially being a Selke, or I should say 95-point plus guy, 100-point guy as a Selke guy.
You're right. Next one, guys, is the last one. The Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup.
Well, Coach, I might be a little biased there. I said, this season is about the three-peat. It's about history. It's about using that D word, the dynasty. It is so hard to go to back-to-back Stanley Cups. The Panthers have now been to 3. They're going to have to make it a 4th. I don't really have my Stanley Cup final prediction right now. If Matthew Tkachuk comes back healthy, looks good at Four Nations, I feel very confident with this roster. But the only team that's going to stop the Panthers right now is ourselves, and that could happen with injuries, with regression in play, with getting tripped up by a young Montreal or Ottawa team in the first round, Coach. I think that's going to be their big hurdle. That first round, if you've got a hungry young Ottawa, hungry young Montreal, Ottawa both have had playoff experience. I still think they need to learn to lose before they win. But in saying winning a first round series, they both lost last year to game Toronto Maple Leafs and Florida Panthers. I think that's the Panthers' biggest hurdle in health. So I think they fall short there if they don't make it. But looking now, Coach, and what the teams did in the offseason, what teams really improved? The Florida Panthers improved by bringing everyone back. I don't think a lot of teams got better. So if you're just looking at the surface level, I say definitely the Florida Panthers have a better shot than anyone to get back to the Stanley Cup final win. But it's the duration, the endurance of the playoffs, the grind, and the Panthers, the way that they play with Paul Maurice is so heavy. But Paul Maurice is smart, Coach. He's going to give the guys a rest in training camp. He's going to give them a rest in the regular season. And he's going to give them the best opportunity to be able to go back to back to back and be three-peat champions. So if you're asking me right now on the surface level, sure. But I can also see a scenario where they make the playoffs and lose in the first round because you just run out of gas.
Well said, Kirby. I will say to you, I was wrong last year. I'm sure you know him. Is it Floppy? What's his name?
Yeah,
the guy
Fluff.
who ran another podcast. He's been with me a couple of years ago. He rides the Saint Bernard dog, Fully, whatever his last name anyway. And I went to his podcast and I told him, I said, no, Florida is not going to repeat this year. And I put some details like, they're going to, they be tired, they play this. And I was wrong completely. They make it and they did it again. I'm not sure they're going to repeat again. I'm going to never go again, Paul Maurice, by the way. But
who do you have, Coach? Who do you got right now? You got anyone in the final? What do you got?
For me, the key behind that is like, if you look about Reinhart, talk about Forsling, and you have another one. They play over 300 games in the last 3 seasons. That's crazy. If you think about this, that's almost 11 months to play hockey at the high level with pressure, everything. And for me, they do something, the Panthers, like anybody does, is the recovery of their body. I don't know, they have a magic pill they put on the bottle of the water on the bench, my friend. But you go on the game 6, game 7, and they look just normal. They don't.
They play their best.
They play at their best. Like they did not look tired. Like they not like this team is slow tonight. They don't. You know what I mean? Like you feel that not at all. They keep pushing. They have the right recipes at the end of the day, Kirby, to win the Stanley Cup. And I'm not sure yet. I'm not there yet on my prediction. I was completely wrong on my challenge bracket last year, anyway. But
yeah, I'm not going to Carolina or Dallas anymore. They burned me a little bit. Those two clubs.
Yeah, the good
thing Colorado
as
well, but Colorado had a tough first round, right? That could happen.
The good thing for them is they have, yes, it's difficult. Toronto, Tampa, Boston at some point, but I think if they don't have Colorado, they don't have Dallas, they don't Winnipeg in their face also. But I think you have to give credit for them, and I think you have to give it for your team, and you are the right team. It takes you a long time to be where you want to be in the last couple of years because you have a really long time with nothing's going on for the Panthers since they've been to the final in 96, I believe they wouldn't been in the final.
Last time the finals, but prior to 2023, yeah.
Yeah.
Long time. And it's 26 years of winning a playoff round.
I've been around there. I've been to the team where they are nobody in defense and nobody there. Understand? There was a team they was trying to rebuild with Barkov, Huberdeau, Ekblad, and I'm talking about 16, 15, 16, 17, 18. And look, I think Montreal need to learn something, the Montreal Canadiens fans. They have to learn something for what the Florida Panthers did. And I don't know who it's going to be. But the Panthers sacrificed Jonathan Huberdeau to fill up what he was missing. They hurt a lot of fans for the Panthers, and they thought it's going to be not a good trade. But it turned around to be great for them, and that's one reason why they are today in the Stanley Cup. If Montreal missing one piece, who is going to trade for the Montreal Canadiens? I don't know. But sometimes you have to pay the price, Kirby, to go to the next level. And we have to give credit for me, Paul Maurice and Bill Zito, because they are the master of that organization, on ice and off ice, in my opinion. But this is a great organization, I believe. They became a great organization the last couple of years, and we have to give credit for them.
Yeah, and we call it the Paul Maurice Masterclass, Coach. I did post-game spaces shows after every game in Paul Maurice's first season. Those were ugly spaces. We had Montreal fans come by. Thank you for Connor Bedard. Like, we had Winnipeg fans come by. Oh, you guys are having problems with Paul Maurice. Oh, we recognize this, right? It was a lot of doubters. Ottawa fans coming by and laughing at our franchise and saying, you guys took a step back here, regardless of adding Matthew Tkachuk or not. What are you guys doing here with your head coach? That's been a career loser that a lot of people said. I pushed back and said, it took Barry Trotz a long time before he was able to win. And a lot of fans, they just didn't see that vision that Bill Zito did. And now everyone has come around in the fan base to, Paul Maurice and Bill Zito, making those trades during the President's Trophy or bringing in Ben Sherratt that your fan base is very familiar with. People saying that wasn't a good trade pick there, to be able to bring him in. Claude Giroux, that didn't pan out. So ultimately, Bill Zito looking really good now, with the additions of, Sam Bennett and Brandon Montour and Carter Verhaeghe and Anthony Duclair. These were all pieces that kind of formulated the Panthers to become a contending team and then be able to become a Stanley Cup championship team. And now, whatever Bill Zito turns to gold, and when he does miss, Coach, your fans got to remember this. When he does miss, swing and miss, he does. But it's usually on the low-end contract guys like an Adam Boquist, and you just move on, you waive the guy, and they might go on and play somewhere else and be successful there. But if it doesn't work for the Panthers and doesn't work for Paul Maurice, we're able to change and adapt and bring other pieces in. And a lot of these guys, Nate Schmidt, OEL, we've brought in Jeff Petrie, which your fan base is very familiar with. People doubt these moves by Bill Zito, but they turn out to be gold usually. Nate Schmidt was one of our best blue liners last year's playoffs, and OEL was very key early on in our first Stanley Cup run because Brandon Montour and Aaron Ekblad were sidelined with the injuries from the long run the year prior. So Bill Zito kind of knows how to adjust on the fly, bring pieces in, and Paul Maurice is the magic elixir there with Sylvain Lefebvre, which a lot of Quebec fans might know. He's been doing wonders for the Panthers defense, coaching there.
And some people in the chat said to you, enjoy Jeff Petrie. That's just kidding. It's for me. It's not for people in the chat.
Yeah,
Jeff Petrie is going to be there. He was just like the fans did not like Jeff Petrie at the end, but it's just a joke about this. We have a question from Pete Martin. I want to thank Pete Martin to his patience about that because we pushed his question to the end. How many points and what could happen with New Jersey and the Carolina Hurricane next season in the Metropolitan Division?
For me here. Okay, so anyone that's not familiar with me from your community, I've always called, and Jim, don't take this the wrong way, but I've told Jim too, the New Jersey Devils are frauds to me. They're a soft hockey team. You know, Jack Hughes, Heischer, Dougie Hamilton, I'm not a big fan of. But what they did last year was they finally addressed in net. And instead of having that 1A, 1B, we don't really have a starting goalie. We're going to go back and forth. They brought in Jacob Markstrom, former Florida Panther. He took a while to find his game in Vancouver and Calgary. And I thought that was a big addition for New Jersey. Funny enough, in the playoffs, he was the only guy that showed up. He was their MVP last year in the playoffs. So another year of Markstrom, I think, should stabilize them. Sheldon Keefe, pretty good regular season coach. I question how he would be in the playoffs. And I don't think he really shined last year. But again, early on the job with New Jersey. Let's give them another year here. Really like Jesper Bratt, like some of the players that they do have coming through the system, doing a little bit things differently on the blue line, getting a little bit heavier back there. But I'm not a big fan of New Jersey. I really shake my head when people pick them to win the division in the Metro, which usually they fall a little short on that. Carolina, coach, they're going to be a good regular season team this year. They could easily win the Metro division again. But the pieces that they added in Keandre Miller and Nikolai Ehlers, please tell me how that solves their problems against a team like the Florida Panthers. I think that makes them softer when the playoffs happen. The ice shrinks. And against a team like Montreal, Ottawa, Florida, even Toronto, Carolina is going to struggle a little bit with that when you've got Matthew Nyes and Alexander Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk and Nick Suzuki and Brady Tkachuk. I don't think Carolina's building the right way if they want to get over that Eastern Conference final hump and win a Stanley Cup one day. I think they're going to run into some tough teams in the Atlantic, being a wild card matchup coach, or again in the Eastern Conference final where they've lost twice to the Panthers. So maybe Carolina wins the Metro, but I don't have stock up for them come playoff time.
Yeah, you're right about the Carolina Hurricane. I think they miss, the physicality when you go up at the playoff. I know they are good, but I think they will be. Now they're going to add Nick Nishikin for them and Nicola Heller. But again, is it good enough to beat the Panthers on that moment? Will it be interesting? The Metropolitan, honestly, it's the Devils and Washington and the Carolina for upcoming season. We're going to hit the end of the end for you, my friend. What a great to work with you. You know the Panthers, I can tell you that. But most of the time for me, it's not about the people knows hockey too much, about the passion. And you can see by your expression and your body language how much you love it to talk about hockey. And I can see already a few minutes how you have the love of the game, and that's the most important thing when we do, as a host of anything you do in the hockey. That was the most important thing. So really, really great to work with you. I'm really glad to invite you first time. Hopefully, it will be not the first time, only the only time, but hopefully see you again during the season at some point to get the checkpoint. And I can't wait to be with you next week, guys. It'll be next Tuesday at 9:45 Eastern Time p.m. at the Cat and Rats the podcast next week. So you can join me. Anyway, you're going to see me before that, 8:30 to 9:30 with all of you guys here next week. And I'm going to invite you to carry on to his podcast, Cat and Rats. That's where you can subscribe if you want to follow the Panthers. But he talk not only the Panthers, we talk about also, like we do, any other team in the NHL. But you can see how he's prepared and how he knows the Panthers, of course. I look forward to see you again next week. And what are you looking for right now? The next, like a creator, everything like that. What are you doing for the next couple of weeks? And what are you looking for the season 25-26 in NHL overall? And then, guys, I'll be still with you for the next 30 minutes talking about the Montreal Canadiens. So don't go nowhere. And don't forget, please, to click on the like. So, Kirby, you have the last word.
Yes, thanks, Coach. And I want to say before the last words here, keep inspiring others. You're motivating others within the fan base and community, and keep growing your community. We have a great community over on the Cats and Rats side. We have our last ranking show Wednesday night. We'll be ranking the head coaches. So we've done GM rankings, defense rankings, winger rankings, with Jim Behringer came by for that one. We had center rankings. We also ranked all the arena experiences around the league. Your fans will like where we put Montreal on that one. We had the goalie rankings to hit off the summer. So we have the head coach rankings. Make sure to check over on our live tab there. Your fans, if you guys are big puck heads, which a lot of you are here, we've got the numbers 40, 50, 60 all summer long here with Coach. Make sure to go over and check those ranking shows. I think we did a really good job on it. We hit some out of the ballpark. Like, I know NHL Network doesn't always do the best rankings, but we had some of the exact rankings that they had on players where we had them on our tier maker earlier in the summer. So you guys will enjoy that. Join us on the live streams on Saturday nights during the season, NHL After Dark. We have Blackhawk fans, Capital fans, Ranger fans, Maple Leaf fans, fans from all over the NHL. Come join us there. And just check out our content when we interview current and past former NHL players. Even if you're not a Panther fan, you'll get a lot from that. So appreciate anyone liking and subscribing. Make sure to like Coach's videos whenever I come in here in the summer. Always hit that thumbs up button. So appreciate you having us on, Coach. Looking forward to have you on for the Montreal Canadiens division preview show next week.
Thank you so much, Kirby. I wish you an amazing, great night. Enjoy the rest of the night. I can wait to see you next week. And let's talk more about hockey, because that's what we love to do. So have a great night, Kirby. Everybody, it was Kirby Lupul from the Cat and Rats. And I will see you next week. Have a good night, Mr. Kirby. It was Kirby Lupul, ladies and gentlemen. It was good. I understand you want to talk more about the Montreal Canadiens and everything like that, but, one time per week we can slide someone to talking about other things. And Jim recommend Kirby, and we saw him a couple of times in the chat, but you can see how well prepared he is, and he loves to talk about hockey. So really glad to work with him, and he will be back. I'm guaranteeing you he will be back during summer, during the winter time. So thanks a little bit to be a part of the show. I'm going to do a quick transition for the Montreal Canadiens, because it's a camp start tomorrow for the rookie camp. And I want to be sure we can give you a little bit more update what's going on. We talk about Sidney Crosby was the big subject around the Montreal Canadiens the big subject. It was not the biggest subject, but I think it was one of the subject happening today on the social media. I'm going to go one place, guys, and let me check. I will have to rebuild a bit the graphic, because the Mr. Number 1 is over right here. And I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to move here in the middle. I'll be a little bit better. And I want to talk to you about Montreal again for about 15 minutes. That's all for tonight. And don't forget, guys, to click on the like. Thanks, Mr. Mark Elliott, for the super shot, the first goal of the game tonight. First of all, guys, remember September 9, many years ago. And I want you to tell me if it was a great trade or a bad trade. The Montreal Canadiens trade the all-star defenseman, winner of the Norris Trophy, I believe 2 times, Mr. Rod Langway, trade with Ekblom, Brand Ekblom, Doug Jarvis, and Greg Loughlin for Rand Walter and Rick Green. It was a trade where the Montreal Canadiens after that won the Stanley Cup, but the career of Rod Langway for many years lead and dominate the NHL as a defenseman. Do you consider that trade a good trade or a bad trade for the Montreal Canadiens? Cat and Rat, lot of cheese, triple W, based on load for IKF. We'll see what's happening there. 3-3 clash hit by, oh my God, man, and second, third. 1 out is the third. 1 a cup. Good trade for A2. I feel the same way, A2, about that trade for the Montreal Canadiens. I think that changed the way to satisfy the hole. We know Langway, it was a big hole at that defenseman, but Rick Graham did a good job overall. And Red Walter was really what he was the key on that trade over Ekblad, Jarvis, Latland. Talk about Ekblad, Jarvis. Ekblad was a third pairing defenseman. Jarvis was at that time a four-line center. Latland, he was a winger where he would play on the third and fourth line. So I think it was a good way to that. That way want to leave as good trade. You're right about this. AK does what Vladimir cannot. Bad trade for Butch. Don't ever know. Those players, Triple W, about that. I apologize for you, my friend, Triple W, a long time ago. The Montreal Canadiens announced today they're going to celebrate, and French said, rendre hommage to Andrei Markov for his 16 years with the Montreal Canadiens. December 3rd, Montreal have a lot of the activities this season or promotion, and one of them is the 30 years anniversary for something, I don't remember anyway. For me, Markov was a really great defenseman. Unfortunately, knees injury set back him a little bit, but overall, Markov have a great career with the Montreal Canadiens, and they're going to celebrate him for the 78 number with the Montreal. Any trade that bring us a cup is a good one, Mark. Great point, you said that. I agree with you. Pete said also a good trade. The next thing is start tomorrow, and this is going to be the Montreal Canadiens rookie camp. We talked about the camp yesterday, and I make a video today about what it looked like when it start everything. Tomorrow is going to be at 8 o'clock a.m. It's going to fitness and the measurement, everything of the player, the Montreal Canadiens rookies. 26 players, I believe they are, 15, 8, and 3 for the Montreal Canadiens are going to be a part of that rookie camp. They're going to practice Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 10 o'clock a.m., I believe. And then Pascal Vincent is going to run the show as a head coach for that week of the rookie camp. Saturday and Sunday, they have game 7 o'clock and Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock p.m. By the way, Frenchy Degg is going to be there at the game. If you go to the game, guys, let us know. And take a picture or video and send it to us at coachfrenchy.com or sign on the Discord if you want to. And finally, Monday, day off, Tuesday is the follow day of the rookie camp. A couple of players are going to be there to watching. I don't know which one player you're going to look more, but on the forward, you have Owen Beck, Kapanen, Tak, Jekai. You have Philippe Major is going to be there for the Montreal Canadiens. Demidov, like I mentioned to you, all the players where maybe players going to look more for them. Vincent Rover is going to be another one to watch for them. On the defensemen, the two defensemen really for me is Engstrom and Rebacker. They have other players. The defenseman was select initial draft 2025, Endel, Pickford, two of them, and McNeil, or Owen Pross returning. Owen Pross will be someone to watch as the defenseman too. Play with the Bradford last season. And finally, as the goaltender is Jacob Fuller is going to be number one with Vec Manex and, of course, the Russian kid, Rabkov. That's give you a little bit more an overview of the roster for the Montreal Canadiens. A couple of players was invited to join the Montreal Canadiens and going to start tomorrow. We're going to give you update, everything, news update for the next couple of days. This is the place to be tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. with Marco Larbi and a special guest. That said, which player are you looking for? You have specific players. I gave you some players yesterday, but I have three. Well, it's easy said that you can watch every one, of course, but I want to see Vincent Rover. That's my first one. My second one is, for me, is Jekai, Florent Jekai, and my third one is Tyler Thorpe. On defenseman, Engstrom, and of course, Fuller between the pipe. But that's going to have been about this. Great call. You're welcome, Maurice. Enjoy the rest of your night. Definitely got to the point where we said we could use Markov on the power play to rebuild AB, Pi Springer, and Stra. Street hockey PS. I love Markov, Maurice. I play plenty of the street hockey in my day with all ball. So for me, this is a happening guy for the Montreal Canadiens. And of course, we're going to follow everything. Talking about Montreal Canadiens, I want to talk about specific players. I want to talk about guys, Adam Ekstrom. I try every day to bring you something you can look about them and a preview of them. And of course, Montreal Canadiens are return on the ice. Everybody is on the building right now for the Montreal Canadiens. They practice every day. All summer, we have a player like Demidov, Hudson, Liney, Strobel. He's been there all summer. And now everybody only missing today is Nick Zucchi. Is at the car wash in Vegas, by the way. This is a couple of video we got on the X account today. This is a one-timer shot. I believe it's Evan Demidov, if I'm right on that one-timer shot. They are like this after practice. They stay on the ice and they continue to improve. This is what we saw all summer, guys, at Brassard, at the Complex CN, where the Montreal Canadiens players, by themselves, they continue to trying to improve for upcoming season. The chemistry or the relationship between players is amazing. This is a goal of the Demidov guys. If you tell me Demidov is not a great hockey player, guys, this is not Regent Hall on breakaway right here. And it's not Jim Roberts, by the way. But look his move here. Look how he go there. Close the goalie, go back on the left, go back on forehands, and you shoot a puck in the net, and that's the goal on the power play breakaway. And that's, for me, that's just to see that. That's enough, in my opinion, for the Montreal Canadiens for that one. I want to talk about, guys, Adam Ekstrom. I apologize. I was supposed to do it with Kirby, but it was too much with great. I want to talk about a specific player, Adam Ekstrom. How was a privilege to follow him for the last 4 years with the team and the SHL. He started with the J20, and then he grew with the SHL Ekstrom. And year after year, he just get better. He just get better. And we have to wait on him. And finally appear with the Laval Rocket last year. The 6'2" defenseman, very great skater, and they are my attribute. Now, don't panic when you're going to see the name of the player at the bottom. I'm going to give you the reason. So don't say, Coach, are you crazy? Wait, I'm going to give you the reason behind that. But first of all, how I describe Adam Ekstrom. He's a good skater. His edge work is good. He can move to the left, to the right. Crossover is another great area. He's very good with the puck and without the puck. He played both sides. He played on the left. He played on the right. He's been like this for a couple of years. He have a great hockey IQ. He's really good to repair his teammate on the ice. His first pass on the breakout is another one solid. He's not only give the puck out of the zone, but he reached always tape to tape and expression in hockey. But it's not perfect. Like everybody, prospect need to become better. And he will need to improve more. And it maybe, not maybe, he will have to dominate an American Hockey League next season as the best defenseman with the Laval Rocket, like David Rebacker is still there, to show exactly who he are. He's going to play in the NHL, no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind, Adam Ekstrom is going to play in NHL. By the way, I can give you that all the way. He's better, not better. He's talented, is skilled more, and better at Jekai and Strobel. That said, it's not because you have better skill and better talent, you have to be in the team and remove Jekai. Because when you are on the third pairing defenseman, you looking for more specific role inside your team. But I can promise you one thing. Trade Adam Ekstrom and anywhere, and he's going to play one day in NHL. I guarantee you that. Now, he had to improve his physicality of the game, and he had to go a little bit more better and win his battle 1-1. That's normal. That's just improvement for him. Sometimes he tried to do too much. But he have a great decision making, but he tried to put another level. And sometimes we say the player, don't go there. Keep this simple. Kiss the puck. Kiss the puck. That's an expression I always tell to the players. Kiss the puck. And that make better way to keep the puck and keep the team out of trouble. That's one area you need to learn more for Mr. Adam Ekstrom. In my opinion, he looked like Brett Kulak with the Edmonton Oilers, ex-Montreal Canadiens, Brett Kulak, in my opinion. Now, you're going to say, Coach, come on. Could he become a fourth string? And I will tell you this way. I don't know the ceiling of Adam Ekstrom. I don't know the ceiling of Sakoski. I don't know what is the top they can be. But if you look Gustav Forsling, play with the Chicago Blackhawks, play with the Carolina Hurricanes, play in American Hockey League. At that age of 22 years old, Forsling was not who he became today. I don't said Forsling, Ekstrom is going to be Forsling. What I said to you tonight is he could become one day that quality hockey player in NHL. Sometimes they never reach that level. Sometimes they impress you and say, wow, I was not expect that. I repeat, I never said he's going to be Forsling. But I don't know his ceiling. And I don't know what it will be the next 3 years for him. Defenseman, you have to be patient. But when you see quality of what I see on Ekstrom, I believe he could go the next level in NHL. Can he would be with the Montreal Canadiens? Maybe not. Or maybe. But he's a great chip asset to put and a trade if Montreal are looking for a specific players. That's what I'm thinking about Ekstrom. Again, for me, this is where I believe about Adam Ekstrom. Ekstrom was the best defenseman for Laval for the playoff last year. Kid is very hungry. I think there's a great word to describe. I like that one. I too, when you said he is hungry. This is really the right description. You can talk about him for Mr. This. I don't want to get there, guys. Don't see that yet. Please. It's not there yet. So that's happening, guys, for Adam Ekstrom on that one, on this one. David Savard is not with the Montreal Canadiens yet. And David Savard become a private coach. He has become associated with his agent to become a private coach and now his new job. And I think could be reflect on the fact David Savard maybe we want to take a little bit more time with his family and he want to do more private lesson, private coach with the different agent to teaching the kid. That said, it could be on the player does not be draft yet. That said, is maybe player already be draft, but they are looking for more help. That's what David Savard is going to do. He could also become a part-time coach with the Montreal Canadiens at some level, at some degrees, as the development coach also. Again, this was a news get out, I think, yesterday about David Savard. But we have to see that. A2 kiss the puck is cold coach. I think Ekstrom has a higher ceiling offensively for Sling, but has a way to go defensively. Yeah, a great describe about that one, Mark, for that one, for sure. We're going to get really a rapido what's going on here for the Montreal Canadiens. I want to mention one more thing, guys. Let's go like a start bench a cut. Before we go to next, I don't know if this one. No, we did this one. It was someone else. I think it was for Mr. Kirby, and Kirby he left the building already for the show tonight. NHL news. I'm going to have. Don't worry if we have on the NHL news the second picture right here on my left. I'm not going to change that one. I can maybe turn off and then come back on. I'll be right there. NHL news, guys. First of all, it's not there, but Dawson Wolf signed a 7-year contract and NHL with Calgary Flame. I don't know if Randy is still here. Big news for them. For Wolf was almost finished 34 on the vote for the Calder Trophy last season. Great goaltender. The 6-foot grow with the Everett silver tip in the WHL. Everywhere he play, he win. Dawson Wolf. It's another Julius Saros in the NHL. Only 6 foot, Dawson Wolf, but have an amazing great year last season. Signed a 7-year deal with the Calgary Flame for the upcoming season. I think the deal is about. I don't know. I have this here. Is this 7 years? At $7.5 million. I think it's 7 years for that one. 24 years old. 6 year. Apologize. That's what I got here. 7 year. Here we go. 7 year for Dawson Wolf. Apologize for that one. Nicolas de Goubi-Bono is in the house. Welcome back on that one. Infield hit for Guerrero for that one. What is the score? Baseball. I want to mention him about the sign Noah Gregor to the PDO, but he has disappeared, Kirby. The NHL expansion in Atlanta, guys. I don't know when it will happen, but it's looking good for the hockey in Atlanta to get an expansion. They have a group, it's called Four Sig group in Atlanta. They have a lot of money. They're going to build $3 billion. I will go to repeat $3 billion of a development in Atlanta area. That's including. That said, not guaranteed, but Atlanta could become a #1 destination expansion for the NHL. Why? But the NHL always looking for the owners have money. And he has money, that group. So we have to wait what could happen on this expansion in NHL. Basho is going for a home run when all they need is a fly ball or a play and back. 3-3 now. The Jays and the Astros bottom 10. PS said that on that one. So, again, people want to get Quebec, everything. I can understand that, and it's normal to do that. But could maybe not happen for upcoming couple of years. The Thrasher will return. I've been to the Thrasher game. Maybe I did 5 times. 4 of them, it was Montreal Canadiens, and 1 of them was the Boston Bruins. Boston Bruins, I went there. That's why I thought Bond forced them to fill in no matter and got it done for that one for sure. Wolf just too soon to get paid for GF. Gerard, welcome back in the house. I'm sorry, no problem, Gerard. You can, of course, watch the replay for tomorrow night at the Hockey Nation. For tomorrow night. You can watch the replay at any time, honestly, for that. I want to mention one more thing before we get out here, is that Evan Demidov is not alone. What are you talking about? At N26, make a comment a little bit early. He said that if you don't get 60 points or 63 points, or we don't have more points, we'll be disappointed. I look about the plan win the Calder Trophy. Hudson did 66. Bella win at 61. The other one went at 55. I think it was Nico Shire. But you have to get about 60 points to win the Calder. but you have a lot of great players coming for the upcoming season in NHL. And that could be a little bit difficult for Demidov. And it's not done like Demidov's going to win it. His favorite? Yes. Could he win? Yes, of course. But I have Zane Parekh with the Calgary Flame, Alexander Nikishin with the Carolina Hurricanes, Sam Rinzel with the Chicago, Zeb Buom with the Minnesota Wild, Evan Demidov, like I mentioned, Matthew Sheffer with the New York Islanders, Gabe Perreault with the New York Rangers, Yaroslav Askarov with the San Jose Sharks, Jimmy Snuggerud. This is the name to pay attention, guys. Jimmy Snuggerud. Don't put him out of the race because this kid could be the big difference for me. And Ryan Leonard for the Washington Capitals. Yes, you're going to have other players like Shabanov with the New York Islanders, but we have to wait what's happening. Nice comeback by the Jays. Astros closer, blew in the wind of the Blue Jays 4-3 at the 10-inning, something until NBA playoff, I believe. Thank GF or Jays in triple extra score on the Heineman ground ball. I guess Jays are using their bench properly. Heck of the tattoo on Heineman. Demidov 76 points for PS. GF Jays will be in, I will imagine, leading Division West. Should that be amazing to see that? Glad, proud of all the fans, of course, of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's what we got tonight, guys, on this special edition of the Hockey Nation Live Show. Please don't forget to come back tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. for another show called the Habs Hump Day with Marco Larrabee and a special guest tomorrow night at 8:45. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. What a great game. What a great night with Mr. Kirby Lupul of the Cats and Rat. Hopefully you enjoy it. Leave me some feedback about him, how you feel about Kirby. And if you want him to come back, we'll do the best to reach him back with us for the next time. I try to get the music on right here.
What if I open my soul?
Sorry about that. But we love April Moon. Don't forget, of course, Thursday night we'll be right back for another Ab Nation show, Friday 2, the fun Friday night. And then we're to go all the way to the next week. And that's happening for the Hockey Nation on the great Tuesday night, September 9, 2025. Thanks, Mark Elliott, for the super chat, the only goal we got tonight. Mark, thanks for everything you do for Hockey Nation Show. As you collaborate the news and update, run with the moderator tonight. We want to thank also all the people click on the likes tonight. And we appreciate Mr. Kirby Lupul, the Cat and Rats, to be with us tonight. I can wait to see all of you tonight. Until then, my friend, the only reason why we at right now, we're getting close to the 10,000. Because all the people that shop are amazing, and that's what you are. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. Here we go. That's the reason we are here for another great night. Hopefully you enjoyed the show tonight. Entertaining for the hockey coach, Coach Frenchy, back in the jungle. Looked like the power was good today. I feel good. On my office. I went to buy a TV yesterday. I got one at 55 inches for $6,000, $200 with the rack behind. When I went to the place, it was the first time at 10 I feel like I was in Aliens. Everybody would look at me like, who's this guy? Like in Pattaya or Jongbien, where they have it's normal to see foreigner. But here it's rare a Thai woman have a foreigner live with her. And I was like, geez, like, what's going on here? It was like everybody was looking at me about that. And the cheese are not that same level, by the way, but that's another subject for another time. And then I want to stop to get a new pair of the lens contact. And to make to have a test, eye test. They don't speak English at all. It was difficult. Anyhow, that's my new place, my jungle. I love it. I enjoy it so far, and cannot complaining. I have too many things to do about that. Follow me on my hockey hot stove, guys. You can see behind me on that one right there. They are the new sponsor of the show, and they only ask you to subscribe at the website. You can get any news around the 32 team. I write right now for the Chicago Blackhawks and the Colorado Avalanche. You can sign up as a member of the Hockey Nation, of course, the Patreon. Be well, be healthy. Find a way not only dominate your day, find a way to dominate the second half of what? Someone was said 2025, the Hockey Nation, I show the Ab Nation, and all the animal in the jungle want to tell you one more thing. We love you, friends. Have a great night, everybody. Can't wait to see you tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Thanks for all the likes. And, of course, all the people participating in the show. I know the music is over, but it's okay. Not a big deal. We can do it without the music, right? A2, thanks. PS, RJ Calabro, Pete Martin, and Mark Elliott, and many others. 27 days or 8 days before the season starts. Until next time, my friend. Oh. Here we go. You got it, my friend. Have a good night. Booyah!